So let's talk about selection sort algorithm in Python today. So selection sort algorithm, find the lowest value in an array and move it to the front of the array. That's what it does. So now how this works is that it goes through the array, find the lowest value, then move the lowest value to the front of the unsorted part of this array. Because yes, it will split this array into two, sorted part and not sorted. So it goes through this array again as many times as possible and repeat this array. So the first thing we are going to do now to have this function is just create our function. We're going to call it selection sort. All right, so we have selection sort here, our function selection sort, and we are taking in my array or my list. So I'll just prefer to use my list right here. So when we take in my list as a parameter, the next thing we want to do here is to get the length of this my list, right? So we define the selection sort as a value, so we want to get the length of this my list. So inside this function we are going to have n as a variable, then this n is going to be the length of this list we are having. So the next thing we want to do is to loop through this list. So for I'm going to go in for I in range n. So right here, as I saying, for I in range n, so inside this function we want to get the length of how many array is stored in n. We want to loop through this, and I now is representing the current index of the array that we are focusing on, the current element in this array that we are focusing on. So we are going to set this current element as a mean index, right? So I'm going to say mean index now is equals to I. So we're setting it as mean index as a current index there. So this value is going to keep track of the index to the smallest value as of that point, the smallest value of the array. So what we want to do next now, okay, mean index equals to I. So don't forget that part. So what we want to do now is to loop through this array again. But when we are looping through this array now, we are saying for j in range. So what we're doing now is having another loop now that will go through the unsorted part of this array, starting from the index I plus 1, because we are deciding that okay, this mean index is I and is sorted already. So we are starting from this index I plus 1 and to the end of this array. So it's going to loop through it and it's going to start from this mean index I plus 1 to the end of this array. That's n to have at the end, which represents the index of the current value. So we're going to compare these two values, the index I plus 1 and the mean index. So we're going to compare if this value j itself, if the elements in my list of the on index j, the elements using with the index j, if it is less than the mean value. So my list again and the elements in the mean value right here. Okay, mean index, not mean value. So if it is less than this mean value, if it is, we want to set the mean index equals to j. And why are we doing this? So we want to set the mean index here right here equals to j. That's because yes, we discover another index that is smaller than I, which we initially set as the mean index itself. So we want to set the mean index equals to j here. Then inside this loop now, when we compare these two elements here, this is my list, the element in my list within added with identity of index j, and this other one with the current mean index. So if it is less than, we are setting the mean index to j instead. So after we find the smallest element in this unsorted part, we swap it. So now how do we swap it now? So swapping it is just like as we've done in bubble sort algorithm. If you've not watched the article, make sure you go and watch it. So now what we do here now is just like saying that okay, so we have this my list j. Okay, this should be outside this for loop. Yep. So we have this my list of index I right here, not j. Then my list, so come on, then my list of mean index equals to my list of mean index, then my list of I. Then what we are doing right here is returning our array so as my list. So yes, so before I run this, let me just go through this and explain something to us right from here. So after we compare this index right here, so after we compare this right here, and we set if it is less than, we set the mean index to j instead of I. So what we want to do now is After this, we want to swap my list I and me index j. We are swapping them, exchanging the value inside that place. So we keep on repeating this now, exchanging that, like swapping the value inside that place, and it's going to return a sorted array. Yeah. So let me try using a comment right here to see and visualize this. So let's say we have this 3 2 4 5 6 8 9. Okay, let's do it this way. So right from the beginning here, we say the index 3, right? So this is the first time we are looping through this. We say this I is equal to 3 because at the first time its index is 0. It's 3 now. So we are now starting this j sort. We are now sorting this j from here upward. So when j is 2 now, what we do is check if the index in j is less than 3. So if it is less than 3, we are setting the mean index to j, which is the value of 2 right here. So now once we set it to j, we compare these two, like we swap the two, and that's what this function, this statement right here does. We swap the two. After we swap these 2 and 3, we bring 2 forward, we take 3 backward. So we just swap the position of that 3. So let me just write 2 right here and 3 here, right? So again, now we are going through this, and this I now is 1, index 1 instead. So and now this is now I plus 1. So it's now starting from 5 upward. So when it's starting from 5 upward, now we now compare if j is less than 5, which is not, right? So this condition is not met, this condition is false, so this didn't run. So what we just do here is just fix, right? Our mean index still remain I. So we are still setting I now to mean index, mean index to I. So it does not change anything right there, right? Do you get what I'm saying? Because now right here our mean index remain 3, and now we are getting this value of in my list with the index of I. So and now I is 2, that's 3, right? And index of mean index, which is 3 also. So this is just still going to remain the same because they are both refined to the same element. Then we go through this loop again. So it's sorted this way. So let me just make this 6 instead. So when we now go through this again, now the mean index is equals to, okay, let me make this 6 5. So let's now say in a condition whereby we are comparing this and this. Now this is I and this is j, like j starting point, now comparing it with all these parts. So when you compare this now and it's setting the mean index to j, so you are setting I now, which is 6, putting it at the position of the mean index, which is j, setting it to 5, then bringing 5, which is now at the mean index, to position I, which is at the front of 5. So that's how that works. So what we are just going to do right here now is to go and run this code and see. So let's say we just have a list called array right here, and this list now we just have some random values. I'll just say okay, 64 25, okay, 64 34 25, and 5 2 22 11 90 12. So we have this array now, and now we want to have a variable called sorted array, and we are calling this function called selection sort. Then we are passing in our array. So we can just go ahead and, okay, when we pass in our array, can just go ahead and print out, okay, sorted array. So we should go ahead and run this code right here. So we can see we are getting a sorted array 3 11 12 22 25 34 64 90. So that will be all for today on selection sort algorithm, and it's repeatedly work fine. Putting the smallest element at the front, the unsorted part, it moves in the front, and that's, I hope my explanation was helpful. Hope the tutorial was helpful. If it was, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to watch more videos like this, and I have more videos on algorithm and data structure. Do it to check them out. Goodbye, see you next time.